Hello everyone, finally it's here, my post-free agency pre-draft episode. I'm sorry it took so long, it's unfortunately due to my health, and I think you're gonna hear it throughout the episode. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it. I hope so. I mean, not that I'm going to die, but you probably can hear my voice. It's a little bit unused last couple of days. Also my nostrils and stuff, it's not good, but hopefully I can manage to give you the best of me. With that being said, I will try to shorten it. Honestly, when I thought about these episodes, because now we are doing it per division, so it's not individual teams, I thought about doing like a 3 hour or something like that. I don't think I'm capable of doing that. So I will shorten some things, but still, I hope you enjoy this. If you will do, please leave a like, leave a comment, share this with guys, girls, or boys, or women, whoever you think would enjoy anything regarding NFL. That being done, what this is going to be about, I will go team by team in division. In the entire episode, we will talk about guys that left the team, guys that they re-signed, how did I like the signings, how did I like guys letting go, how their lineup is just lining up right now, what I think are their starters and are not, and how I would approach their draft. With no further ado, let's start with Tennessee Titans. Okay, so with the Titans, to let goes Harold Landry. To me, I was proposing that they will think about cutting him with the dead cap money, and the situation was not horrendous compared to what the cap hit would be if they kept him. Given what the Patriots are paying him, based on that, you would think they are getting a great player. To me, I don't really like the signing for Patriots, but that's for another episode. So overall, I do understand this cut. I proposed it. Yeah, Mason Rudolph letting go. I mean, what does this tell you? Well, it could tell you that they are taking him forward, right? Or it could tell you also that Mason Rudolph should not have started games last year. It's simple as that. He's a good backup, but nothing more than that. Why would you pay a guy like this in case you will draft Cam Ward? There was no spot for him on the roster. In case you don't, you can still get an experienced backup for cheap. So really easy let go. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, that one really shocks me, because the money he signed for with the Miami is like $3 million a year. I mean, Titans could definitely have money to do so. They had money. And letting a guy like this go, I know he never fulfilled the expectations that there were on him, but he is still a solid player. He would be the third, or maybe even second best wide receiver on his roster as of right now. And letting this guy go for such a small amount, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So it might have been that he was not going to come back. He doesn't want to come back, but I mean, if Miami is paying him $6 million, or yes, around $6 million for 2 years, pay him 10, and I still would not consider that an overpay. So yeah, I don't understand this one. By the way, just so you understand the cards are as usual. Unlike with the PFF and stuff like that, we have the money that is a cap hit for a season. So for Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, it's 1.6 for 2025, 3.2 for 2026, and then whenever you see the it being riddle reshaped and having undercut line under, it means dead cap money for the future. So Nick Westbrook is not under contract for 2027, but he has that cap situation on 1.2. You have guaranteed money, how much of that contract is guaranteed. So for example, with Westbrook, it's 3.2. And great, how I personally like or dislike the signing for the team that signed him. So these are all the grades for Patriots in case of Landry, for Steelers in case of Rudolph, and for Miami in case of Westbrook-Ikhine. So yeah, that was the one that I didn't understand how the Titans did not match this or try to bring him back. In terms of other guys, they let go Chidobe Awuzie, Quandre Diggs, and Tyler Boyd, experienced veterans. With Awuzie, I did not necessarily see this coming because, hello, say hi. Because he was not exceptional last year, but they are not really saving too much this year. The situation was, if you cut him, you save all of next year's cap hit, of course, but you save only $2 million this year. So the Thing was, they could have had him for this season, for this just the 2 million more that they are going to pay in terms of dead cap, and next year they could have cut him and actually have like only 2 millions in dead cap situation. So like this year cutting compared to next year's cut only saves them 4 millions, and I definitely say that Shinobi is a good enough player to like play under that circumstances. So I was surprised by this one. Not like terribly shocked. They have some young DBs that they probably want to promote, and I kind of don't expect this year to be the year that they are going to like win something. So I do get it from this side of things, but yeah, still slightly surprised. Tyler Boyd, Quandre Diggs, like good veterans, but not necessarily guys that you like need to have for this year's what Titans need to do. Now, towards the signings. So we started with the most controversial one and one of the most surprising one across like the whole segment of free agents. And it was Dan Moore. And him signing like 4 years, almost 80 million. And there was a shitstorm after this. And like, I understand why there was a shitstorm, because like Dan Moore is not a guy that should be earning 20 million a year based on his play. But this was a year where there was very, very few good tackles on the market. And the thing for the Titans was they had money. They wanted J.C. Latham to play right tackle instead of left tackle, where he feels much more natural. And like with that being said, Dan Moore was kind of the best option that they could realistically get. And whether it's Cam Ward, whether it's Will Levis, like having Dan Moore and J.C. Latham is like significantly better than having J.C. Latham and Nicolas Petit-Frere. So, I mean, as much as it bothers me, because like it's massive overpay, it's not like super bad signing. I liked several signings much worse than this, because this one at least does make sense from the perspective of, well, we probably won't be able, like we are not taking obviously tackle number one. And if they are not trading down, which it seems like they won't, like getting a really good tackle is going to be problematic, because the tackles are like 4 guys that I do expect to go in the first round, and it might be 6 or 7, and then it's going to really thin out. So they rather invest it in this guy, where like I would be comfortable paying like then more 10 to 12 million, not 20. But I do understand it. So I still do not totally like it. You see D+. I mean, it's still under average signing. It's bad signing like by definition in this, but at least I do understand it. And I'm not like, I don't think this is a detrimentally bad signing for the organization. I will say that. Jamon Jones, 1 year, like this is kind of weird, because on one case, like you are like letting guy like Chidobe Awuzie go. On the other, you are signing Jamon Jones. It's like, similar caliber of players. Why would, I mean, obviously there are different positions, but like, I'm not necessarily certain what this signing is supposed to like mean for like the D-line. I don't know. Also, it's like he didn't really work under Mike McDonald, so do expect him to work better here. And 8.5 million is not like super cheap, so I'm a bit skeptical. It's not like dreadful signing. I do understand like when you consider like Harold Landry go, Jamon Jones in, you save some money. Okay, I get that, but still not a huge fan of this one. Unlike Kevin Zeitler, and like here, NFL, please explain something. Please explain to me, how is Kevin Zeitler year after year so criminally underpaid? Like last year, he was one of the top 10 guards in the league based on the play, and he takes 9 million. Like if he took like 9 million from a Super Bowl contender, then you at least like understanding, like I'm not chasing money, I'm chasing money. But how does he take 9 million here? I mean, that's beyond me. Like for Titans, huge win. For Kevin Zeitler, I don't understand. Like, is there something from locker rooms? Or what's going on? Why are we undervaluing this guy? Because he is freaking awesome. So I love this signing for the Titans. If I was Kevin Zeitler, I would probably fire my agent, because, like, dude, come on. You are worth much more than this. Much more than this. Other guys, Sebastian José, really a huge fan of this one because behind Tevon Desvet and Jeffrey Simmons, he was really perfect, like rotational guy for them. And yeah, I think he absolutely works. It's not like value signing in terms of like he would be worth like 10 or 11 million somewhere else. No, I think it's a solid signing in terms of money, but I really like the fit and really like the thinking. Cody Barton, Xavier Woods, both signings I kind of like. Cody is kind of a bet that he continues to develop, continues to like build on what he was able to do last season. Then it could be a value signing based on what he was like his first couple of years. I'm not really sure. We will see. Xavier Woods, very solid safety for a nice amount of money for the Titans. So yeah, huge fan of this one. And that gives us the roster. So we start with offensive line. This is how I predict this team will actually start. I don't really see them drafting guys that would insert as starters. Then more, I think it's clear you've invested, you have it. JC Lightham goes to right tackle, Kevin Zeitler, Lloyd Kushmer, Peter Skoronsky. I don't think this changes. Unless there's injury or some off-field issues, I don't think they will invest in this group particularly too much because they already did. And yeah, this is really kind of an easy situation to like evaluate. The big question obviously is QB. And like big question. Is it a big question anymore? Because everything points out towards them taking Cam Ward. And when they do, I will have my opinions about it. And I will share those opinions with you guys. I will not be a huge fan. But I won't slam it. So why I won't be a huge fan, why this feels like decision that is more driven by scarcity of the job, because I think if you are head coach and GM, first year was not really good, and if they continue with Will Levis, like they might be on tightrope that he could be fired within this year. I don't think you will fire a guy, after drafting Cam Ward, because there should be at least some continuity you want to give your young QB. But Will Levis is particular reason why I would dislike Cam Ward. And it's not like Will Levis didn't have a bad season. He did. But let's be frank. You traded away DeAndre Hopkins. You gave him the worst playing right tackle in the league by far in Nicholas Petit-Frere. The rest of the O-line was really not good. The playmakers, they were not the playmakers. Chigo Okonkwo did not step up. There was really not much to work with. And when you look at Will Levis, he played 20 games, maybe not even that. And he was set up to fail. And you just go 2 years back, Will Levis was considered a huge steal. There was a lot of people thinking he's going to go top 5. They were able to get him in early second round. So while I do understand that he did not have a great second season, I think the situation around him was really bad. So to me, I would really try to fix the situation around the QB. And if Will Levis in the process of that would play well, then great, we have our guy, and we didn't have to spend the first pick overall to get him. And if not, then most likely next year we are still on top of the draft, and we can get our guy next season. So to me, Will Levis do deserve a shot, because I don't think he's been actually given one, but I don't think he's going to get it. Now let's take a look at the playmakers, and it's not a great group. You have Calvin Ridley, and who are the wide receivers behind him? I don't know. If you look at the depth chart right now, let me pull out the depth chart for really quick, because who is behind Calvin Ridley? It's Traylon Burks, Van Jefferson, Bryce Oliver. Come on, And it's not like you have great tight ends, because Chigo Okonkwo is solid, but definitely. You did expect him to be right now at least important starter. He just stopped in his development. And okay, you have good pair of running backs in Tony Pollard and Tajay Pierce, but good, not exceptional. And that's pretty much what they have to work with. And they did not fix this during the offseason. Like, admittedly, there was not that many great options that would go to the Titans, right? But, like, do you think Cam Ward with this is going to work super great? Do you think Cam Ward, if you draft him, is set up for success? I don't. So, yeah, I would really go the route of Will Levis plus much better resources invested in this, whether it's taking Travis Hunter first overall, trading down and try to take Ted McMillan, Tylen Warren, whatever, and like accumulate picks. Like I said, there is like crazy trade proposition that I would go if I'm Steelers, and like I don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers, but he's not signed yet there. I'm kind of done with that. I would trade TJ Watt first round this year, first round next year towards the Titans for Cam Ward. And I think Titans would accept that. With that, TJ Watt would get traded again, probably somewhere to like Lions or Eagles for like another couple of first round picks. And with that, like you have plethora of picks that you can really improve this team around, whilst having some extra picks next offseason, where if you are not picking number one, you can use a package of picks to get a QB of your choice. So that would be how I would approach. It's too wild, it seems like, but if that happens, you heard it first here. Okay, like this is the situation. Like I don't know, it's a really bad bunch of playmakers. In terms of backups, Josh Wild, Traylon Burks, Nicholas Petit-Frere, like yeah, that's it's not like they have even like backups for offensive line. Josh Wild is your backup tight end, or it's like second tight end. Traylon Burks, like, I mean, what do you want? Like, this is really abysmal offense. Like, you fixed offensive line, kind of, and you fixed it to the point that it's average, hopefully, and like obviously with Skoronski and Latham, you hope it's going to get better. But yeah, that's kind of what this offense is. So, like, good luck and work if you enter this. Now let's go towards defense. Obviously, with Harold Landry being out, there is a spot for Abdul Carter if you want to go that route, which I would like more even than Cam Ward, because yeah, though it would not fix offense, surprise, surprise, but at least you would have an exceptional defensive line that you can build this team around. So that would be what I would do in case I would not trade down. Jeffrey Simmons, Devonta Sweat, I'm super excited about the second season. I feel like this could be the best interior line duo, even as early as this season. Like super excited about the future. Aaron Key, I think is a very, very solid player, but he's like a number two. With Jeffrey Simmons, like you have a like elite interior pass rusher. So, they probably can round this group with, say, good edge prospect, for like second, third round, and still have really nice defensive line. Yet with Abdul Carter, this could be really a different animal. Cody Barton, yeah, he's going to be your starting linebacker. Who's going to start next to him? I mean, it could be Cedric Gray that they drafted last year. We will see. We will see about that one. In terms of secondary, like I said, Jarvis Bromley, Roger McCreary, you kind of want to know what you have in these guys in terms of you want to like put them out there because like Roger has 1 year left on his deal, yeah, and Bromley has 2 or 3? Yeah, Bromley has 3, but it's more like what are you going to pay Roger McCreary? So that could be why, like not necessarily that Avuzie interferes with that, but like if you want Bromley, McCreary, and Snead out there, like how do you fit Avuzie in there? So I understand that. Will they look at like a better corner to run this group, or will they actually like trust this trio? We will see. In terms of safeties, I think they are clear on their kind of experienced veterans in Hooker and Woods. The only question is with Amani Hooker, are they going to pay him, because he also has 1 year left on his deal. He might be a guy that they trade during like transfer deadline, though. He's a safety. How much you can really get for him, I would much rather have him in my team. But again, like the secondary, it's like solid, nothing special. With backups, Draymond Jones, Sebastian Joseph Day, maybe they think about Draymond as a starter. We will see. Derek Baker, Cedric Gray, Mike Brown. Okay, like yeah, there's some solid youth in like backside of the secondary. Like the interesting thing about the secondary is like L'Jarius Sneed, like besides Xavier Roots that they've signed like kind of cheap veteran signing, L'Jarius Sneed is the oldest player and he's 28. So there's nice potential that this year should be. Let's give these guys playing time because we are not trying to win division. Not that they won't try, but we are not optimizing for this year's window, and see what we have. With that in mind, I've approached the draft, and as you can see, I really did go Abdul Carter. Why? Well, I told you, I really feel like this would give this team an identity. The identity of this team would be we have great defensive line. Let's go after the QB. Let's build from defense. And with that being said, as you will see pretty much going forward, that is kind of the only piece that we want to invest heavily in terms of defense for maybe even like next year and this year as well, because I feel like we have enough there. But this L'Jarius Sneed that we traded last offseason, hopefully he can come back to his great former self. Devon Sweat, guys like that. With that, I would prepare my offense for either Will Levis this season, hopefully he could work, or QB for next offseason. Tyler Brooker, so it gets C- from the PFF. I don't think like those grades are very, very accurate. Why Tyler Brooker? I think he is like best true guard in this draft and probably like top 3 guard overall, because a lot of tackles, several tackles that are talked ahead of him will probably start their career in the NFL as guard. So I would draft Tyler Brooker. Why? Well, the situation is you have Kevin Zeitler for 1 year, right? You also have kind of versatility of Peter Skoronski that if JC Layton plays bad, if there's an injury, which happens, obviously, you can still go and switch Peter Skoronski towards tackle. You can insert Tyler Brooker in. So he gives me pretty much a 6th man that, it's not like he's versatile that he can play all over the O-line, but I have a versatile guy in Skoronski that I can figure out. Whatever the injury is, I'm kind of covered. And that's a good thing, obviously, because 1, there's a lot of injuries, and B, I really don't want Nicholas Petit-Frere to play. I mean, sorry, man, it's just been really horrible. So, and C, for next year when I don't have Kevin Zeitler, most likely, I'm prepared. With that being said, then I went and tried to fill this room with some of the playmakers, that I feel like could have potential to, not necessarily like ascend to greatness, but makes this offense workable. Like Torrey Horton is really good after the catch. Taz Johnson gives me speed. Horan Pierce is kind of a guy that I look at and feel like, okay, this guy, I don't want him to start ever, kind of. But he is a player that gives me a solid floor. He's very experienced college tackle, and if I have injury, he can play. It's pretty much Tyler Schaff. This is kind of where some of these PFF drafts are like a little bit harder to navigate, because I would be shocked if Tyler Schaff doesn't go much sooner than this. But like since he's been on the board, like I try to not to do this, because like there are some drafts in which like Abdul Carter doesn't go till 6. Like that's ridiculous, right? Or Cam Ward doesn't go till 15. Like that is kind of crazy. Ollie Gordon is a player that, to me, was at this point when I was making the draft. At that point, he was the best running back available, and also, like I want him as like this big back that's going to give me a short yards. So that would be how I would approach this as Titans. Like I said, there's much more crazy strategies that I would definitely deploy if I am a Titans manager. This one at least seemed within the realm of reasonable thinking that, maybe they will decide that Abdul Carter is worth number one over Cam Ward. Honestly, I would take Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter over Cam Ward, and we'll see. But it seems kind of a lock that they will go with Cam Ward. With that being said, let's shift towards another team. And can you see it? What can this team be? It's Jaguars. So, Jaguars started the offseason kind of letting go Evan Ingram. I think he's a great fit with the Broncos, and it was an interesting decision to cut him by the Jags, because when you look at how they have Trevor Lawrence contract structured and Joshua Hines-Allen as well, if we are at that, they have really small cap hits this season. It's 17 million for both of them. And well, if your guys are having 50 million on average in Trevor Lawrence's case, and this year there's 17 million only against cap hit, the 33 million is going to be spread in the future. So it's like, if this was supposed to be our year, why are we getting rid of a good player? But if you are honest with yourself, it's like, well, it was supposed to be our year, but we kind of effed up in the process, and we are not in a great spot. So, if we are really honest with each other, that's probably a decent move. Cisco and Darby both letting go. I kind of get that. Really nothing worth talking too much. Luke Farrell also letting him go. Yeah, it's kind of whatever. Mitch Morse, Mac Jones, yeah, the same. I like Mac Jones towards San Fran, but we will talk about that with San Fran episode. And they also made let Christian Kirk go towards Texans for I think it was fifth year. This one is interesting at least, because one, it's a division opponent. Two, Christian Kirk is still a good player. Three, you kind of saved some money, but not necessarily a super huge amount. And four, does this really open up a door for young ascending wide receivers? Well, you would like to, but you kind of don't have other guys. Brian Thomas Jr. is already ahead of him. And right now it seems like your 2 and 3 is going to be De'Ami Brown and Gabe Davis. So, yeah, interesting option. In terms of signings, we start with De'Ami Brown. And this is a guy that a lot of people I've heard talking about that they like this signing a lot. And it's not like I dislike it, hence C+, but I would like the signing much more if it was 2 years, 20 million rather than 1 year, 10 million. Because to me, it's kind of either he's going to really prove that he is legit potential number 2. I mean, guys, I love cats, but sometimes they are annoying. Sorry. So he can be a legit number 2, but if he proves that, he's going to be much more costly. And if he doesn't, I feel like his floor is not necessarily exceptionally high. So it's I'm not going to say you are wasting 10 millions, but it's yeah. I mean, I think it's a solid signing. Don't get me wrong, but not necessarily a huge fan. Johnny Munt, I actually like his really a lot actually, because to me he's a quality player that was kind of stuck behind probably the best tight end duo in the league in terms of TJ Hawkinson and Josh Oliver. And whenever he played, he looked solid. So I mean, this is very cheap and actually a nice option in case Brandon Strange does not work out. Patrick McCarry, similar to Dan Moore, I would say, because the supply was much smaller than the demand in terms of starting offensive linemen, so you need to pay. What I like about McCarry more is he gives me guard tackle versatility as well. So yeah, think it's a solid signing, but in terms of value per money that they have spent on him, I think it's a slight overpay. So that's just why it's just a C. Despite that, I actually like the idea of like maybe you should try to protect your franchise quarterback. Okay, this group, as you can see, I'm not a huge fan. Okay, why? Jordan Lewis. This shocked me because you had Jaron Jones that was like really good at the same spot that Jordan Lewis is playing, and now it's like, well, he can play outside. No, he can. He didn't play there in college, so it's like, what are you going to do with Jaron Jones now? Are you killing a rookie that played like really well? Compared to his draft pedigree, compared to everything that you have under cheap control for next 3 years, are you killing him for a player that, yeah, he's probably better? Okay, I get that, but like, how much more is he better? And like for 10 millions a year more. I mean, it's not against like Jordan Lewis getting paid. I still think it's a bit of an overpay for the quality that Jordan Lewis has, but I just doesn't understand the point of bringing him exactly here when you have Jaron Jones on cheap control. Like, yeah, he had a lot of, hey, get out. Sorry, guys. Yeah, he had some like really bad moments, but like that you can expect that for a rookie corner. Yeah, not a fan. Like, I feel like you are not, you don't swim in cap space. Okay, Eric Murray, I feel like it's not a bad signing necessarily. I feel like it's just a slight an overpay. And Robert Hainsey, again, I understand getting someone to protect your franchise QB, but is he necessarily the guy? Like, Bucks kind of went from their way to try to replace him, whether it's Cody Mack, whether it's Graham Barton. It's like, it's good. Here's the culprit. Here is the culprit. Can you stop doing mess? I mean, imagine like being still a little bit sick, trying to give you guys the content, and this little culprit is just, and she doesn't stop. Like, get out. You are a bad girl. Sorry for that. I hope it's going to get better. Now let's go to how this team can look like. Well, they clearly made their bet with trading Cam Robinson, paying Walker Little. It was like, yeah, this is... this is what we are going to do. Obviously, Anton Harrison, you would hope that he's at like better stage of his career, but he's still a solid tackle. That's also why I like McCarry, because if Harrison struggles heavily, you have kind of this option of like putting him out there. But overall, like when you look at this, it's like solid offensive line that should do the job, but definitely not a strength of this team. Obviously hope that Harrison is going to develop. Perhaps something could be said about Hainsey, and even Walker Little could have some better days ahead of him. Trevor, like to whoever feels like Trevor Lawrence should not be a starter or whatever, like there was a crazy talk about Mac Jones coming to take his job. Trevor is still like one of the 16 best QBs in the league. Yeah, I understand that compared to the expectations that you had, it's not necessarily where you would like him to be, but yeah, you can assign some of his struggles towards Trent Baalke and like the entire Jaguars management. But it's not like I'm not going to like sit here and say that it's not fair to blame him. Like he left a lot to be desired at this point of his career. Beside this, let's look at the playmakers. The interesting situation is obviously our running backs, because Travis Etienne was kind of left out last year, like in second part of the year. They kind of handed the job towards Tank Bigsby, who played well, but like Travis Etienne is still a good back. So we will see what Liam Cohen should do with this duo. In terms of wide receivers, I mean, I would be shocked if Gabe Davis is not cut next offseason. It's kind of when I talk about Avuzie, I feel like Gabe Davis is in a similar situation where it almost doesn't make sense to cut him this year, because you are not saving almost anything compared to cutting him next offseason. But like, I just don't see him like getting to the end of his contract, because he's just not worth the cap hit that they are paying him. Diami Brown, I think, should be ahead of him in the depth chart, but I still feel like this team could be looking for a wide receiver with the draft. Brendan Strange, I feel like, is going to be this team starting tight end, a guy that they hope will develop into the future. Probably not a star, but like really good tight end. I want to say Cole Kmet, but yeah, if he goes to be Cole Kmet-ish, then you are really happy about it. So that would be really nice. And with that being said, they have Johnny Mount and other guys like to back him up. Hunter Long and Johnny Mount. So yeah, I think this is solid. But again, like, this group is, imagine if Brian Thomas Jr. is not a hit. Like, look at this group. What is there to work with? So definitely could look to add another playmaker. In terms of backups, Johnny Mount, Parker Washington. Parker kind of makes it maybe harder to draft wide receiver, but again, you could still look at this and be like, okay, let's cut Gabe Davis anyway, even though it doesn't save too much money, and like still go for it, because like after this year, you most likely have Parker Washington and Brian Thomas Jr. Like, good luck with that. So I will not be shocked if they look for a wide receiver. In terms of backups for offensive line, I don't necessarily see guys on the roster that I would like super like. There is Luke Fortner still, can be a cheap option. Chuma Edoga they've signed. Like, I'm not talking about all the signings. I'm only like that I'm major or at least interesting in some of the cases. Yeah, I feel like they could look for backups there. The same with QBs and even running backs, like Travis Etienne has one more year left. What are you going to do? We'll see. They brought Nick Mann, so it's not like they necessarily have to look at backup QBs in terms of a draft. Now let's shift towards defense. I think it's clear that this team would done well if they had a great defensive tackle. Armstead is going to be 33. Like, he's not necessarily a guy that's going to be this like huge presence against the run in the middle of the defense. Trevor Walker is like very good draft defender from the edge, to Josh Allen as well, but like, you need someone else. And like Mason Smith last year, that was a disaster, and he was never like a really good run defender in the first place. They have Devon Hamilton, but I think given the draft, I definitely feel like there is a need and there is a supply in this draft for guys that they shouldn't sell here. So definitely a spot that I will try to attack in terms of a draft. Linebackers, like, unless they plan to trade Devin Lloyd, which could be an option for them, because he is 27, yet he just played 3 seasons in the NFL. He was very kind of old rookie, so there is a question about like paying him, because again, they are not swimming in terms of cap hit. And Trevor Walker's contract is going to come up, so he could be a valuable trade piece. On the other hand, he is freaking good, so very interesting how they approach this. I would expect them to like keep this group together and give Lloyd a contract, and definitely to pick up a 5th year option. In terms of secondary, okay, so how do we approach this? Like, Tyson Gamble, I mean, at this point, you would hope that he would be a number 1 that you can leave on the island and be okay with that. I don't think he's there yet, so like you probably will treat him like this and hope that he's going to swim with the sharks and will bite back. But can you definitely like count on that? Not really. Jordan Lewis, yeah, he's going to be a good slot, but what does it leave Jaren Jones? Because like I don't think he did not play outside pretty much ever. So is this going to leave him on the bench? Weird. Are you trying to put him outside where like some of the like deficiency that he has in coverage could be like even much more lethal? So weird situation that they kind of brought upon themselves by investing heavily into Jordan Lewis. Obviously, sorry for the bad numbers with Jordan Lewis. Those are PFF numbers. Those are not cap situation. Like I believe I had it like rather well in the first one, but I didn't change it here. Yeah, these are the correct numbers, obviously, for Jordan Lewis. So yeah, the need I think is there still for corner, but again, like if you bring or invest heavily, like you are kind of totally killing Jaren Jones. If you don't, you are depending on him. So good freaking luck with that. So you kind of put yourself up in like a weird situation, in my opinion. In terms of safeties, again, I feel like they have a bunch of solid guys in Wingard, Murray, Darnell Savage. Like they are playable, but definitely not a group that is great. And they kind of went into the approach that they are going to not invest. Like it seems like they are not going to invest in this group with the draft because they have a room. It's deep. It's not great. So definitely looking for CB. In terms of backups, like I said, Davon Hamilton could be a starting defensive tackle, but I really hope they would look for someone better. Especially when this draft, I feel like, offers several guys in that situation. In terms of corners, maybe you could think about Montaring Brown as like the second starter, especially when he has like 1 year left on his deal, where it's like you want to know where you are going to pay him. So that's an angle you can definitely take, but we'll see. I'm really not certain, and there's a reason why Will Johnson is kind of in a lot of mock drafts. He's mocked to go to Jacksonville. With that being said, let's take a look at how I approach their draft. And like I said, I feel like they have several holes on the roster. And when I thought about it, I'm like, I want more picks. I do not necessarily feel like we are one specific player away. So if I can trade down, recuperate some picks, yeah, I'm doing that. And it's also like something that they might consider doing due to, for example, how they like approach Evan Ingram, Diamond Brown. It really feels like Liam Cohen kind of came in with like an approach. Let's take it in the flow, like not necessarily thinking that we know best, that this needs to be our year. It really feels like we want to figure things out, and when I try to figure things out, I would like to work with more great prospects rather than one special one, if that makes sense too. So with that, we traded down twice, gathered two extra seconds, and with that we were able to take Walter Nolan, really a guy that I feel like definitely gives me what I need with the defensive line. And really now, when you look at it, Naheem Hines-Allen, Walter Nolan, Eric Armstead, Devon Hamilton, Mason Smith, and Trevor Walker, I think suddenly again, like I have very, very interesting defensive line. Then with Trey Amos still being on the board, I'm taking a corner that to me is like I would not be shocked if he goes first round. So if I'm getting him on the top of the second, I feel like it's a good value. It allows me to really like kind of not to think about this room for next 2 years pretty much. The only decision I'm going to make is about Montague Brown, whether I'm going to pay him or not. Tyler Booker, I mean, when you look at this offensive line, it's like Ezra Cleveland is a veteran that you like not necessarily are like super stuck with in that sense. And like with Patrick McCarry's versatility, again, like very similar to why I drafted Tyler Booker towards the Titans. Like it's not like Tyler Booker is necessarily the versatile one, though I feel like he could play center if push comes to shove. But with Patrick McCarry or Peter Skoronski, he allows me to do this. Nick Emanwari, like PFF give this a C+ because they consider this an overdraft. I see a lot of mock drafts actually having Emanwari in like a late first round, very early second. Here, to me, this is kind of a chance of really having kind of great secondary, like within like really solid picks. Like I really feel like he gives me an upside that neither of the safeties that they have does give them, and I actually want to have the opportunity to have a really good safety room. So yeah, that's why I'm going for Emanwari. With Judkins, the thinking is very, very simple. Whether it's Travis Etienne and I really like him or not, like there's 1 year left on his contract, I'm not sure I want to pay him what he probably is going to ask, like 8 to 10 million a year, which I mean, like it's reasonable with his draft pedigree and his solid play. I mean, look at like Najee Harris takes like 1 year 5 million, but I think it's kind of a prove-it deal. So if he's looking for a long-term contract, I think it's going to be in the ballpark of like 8 million. Do I need to pay that? Do I want to pay that? Do I have the money to pay it? Not sure. I definitely can use a really good RB, and there are a couple of really good ones, I think, in the third round, and Quinshon Judkins is one of them. Jack Sawyer, when you look at Jack, I feel like he was kind of a value pick at this point of a draft, and B, we don't necessarily have like a backup edge players towards this group. So without Harold Fannin, I feel like he is a tight end that a lot of people are like sleeping on. If he goes in fourth round, I would say I would really consider this a steal for pretty much any team that has him. Like I feel like he could go as early as like 60. Yeah, as early as 60. So when he was available, like 107, I absolutely taking him. And again, it's like, okay, Brenton Strange, okay, Johnny Mount. Does it matter that I have these guys? Not really, because, like I have this guy for 4 years on cheap, under control. He might develop, he might not, but I really like the upside, and I want to give this room a guy like this. Is there anyone necessarily like worth talking about after that? You might question why Kyle McCord. To me, this is pretty much how I actually do expect several teams to approach, because there is like 6 to 9 quarterbacks that I feel like could be available like post fourth round or like fourth round plus. That, I mean, in a really great case scenario, they could develop into starters, but to me they are all very interesting cheap backups for 4 years. And like I definitely would like my team, and hence why I do it for other teams, to actually like think of this. Like veteran backups, QBs like cost 5 to 6 million. Like these guys are going to cost like 1 to 1.5 million. Not to mention they have the upside that most of the veterans probably don't have. And yeah, like to me, this is just a smart option. So that's why, like in a lot of the teams, even though that they have pretty much like locked up their QB for the future, I will take someone like Kyle McCord. That I feel like it's just a smart option. With that being said, those were your Jaguars. Leave me thoughts how you would like what I did with them, or what I did in the offseason, of course. So we are at the halfway point. Let's continue, and we go and visit Indianapolis. So they let go several, like 2 young players that signed for big money elsewhere. And A lot of people were mad at the Colts for letting go of Will Fries. And I understand from the perspective, he has Pro Bowl upside in him. I feel like he can be Pro Bowler. And you cannot really be like, well, but he's coming off an injury. I mean, it was like broken leg. It was not something that should like detriment his career going forward. So you should not be letting him go because of injury concern. Is what I'm trying to say. But when you look at his 4 years with the Colts, like he was solid, and then last year he was exceptional, but like for 3 or 4 games. And do you bank on that to be there and pay him 16, 17, 18 millions a year when Dalton Tucker steps in and play well? I mean, he's not Will Fries. I'm not saying that, but he played solid. And you can obviously like draft and kind of develop good offensive line, like Colts are actually doing that years in, years out. And also, when you look at the whole line, it really feels like they survived without Ryan Kelly last year. They survived without Will Fries and still were really good, despite having Tanner Bortolini and Dalton Tucker there. So I'm like, yeah, I do understand why it's like the decision could be we want to get cheaper on some positions. Eventually, you cannot pay every guy. You know, like look at Eagles, like that they let 3-4 guys that are massive players, great players. They let them go because that's how cap hit works. So I do understand thinking of we are not super sure that he is going to be the guy that he was pre-injury. Not because of the injury, but because the sample size of where he was, this guy, was not huge. We had a guy that was playing solid. Obviously, he's like worse. Like I would even say like much worse than Will Fries, but he was playing solid. And we can have him for next 3 years on like $1 million a year, or we can pay Will 18 million. I understand the decision. I really do. And I was actually kind of expecting this. When I was preparing for free agency, I had Colts letting him go. It might bite them in the butt, but I really feel like this is a good decision. With Ryan Kelly, like it becomes more risky when you are letting go both of these guys. But again, Darren Bortolini showed enough that they kind of look like they're responsible in a way like doing the moves that really good franchises like needs to do when they are in like the Super Bowl windows. The problem is Colts are not in there, so they are not playing for Super Bowl. So if we are talking about Chiefs and Chiefs making these decisions, or Eagles, like those decisions are much easier to stomach because you kind of understand it more. When it's like Colts and you are like, well, where are the championships or where are the playoffs? It's probably harder to stomach. Yet I think it's a kind of a right approach, like to try to think ahead to, when we can go with cheaper option on position that we have veteran in Ryan Kelly. Yeah, we want to do that if the opportunity is there and we really trust our guy and they seem to trust Bortolini. Darwin, I feel like with the situation regarding like defensive line of the Colts, it feels like Odengbo, like they continue to look for that edge, that great edge, and Odengbo is another guy in line that kind of failed to develop into the great edge, yet he is still a good player. So again, like they have a couple of them, so letting him go kind of makes sense. They also let these guys go. Julian Blackman is kind of an interesting one because he's still unsigned towards this moment, which to me is a little bit surprised. I don't know whether it's like he wants too much money. Like what is it about him? Because I feel like he's quite a good player, and I'm a little bit shocked that he still is not signed. So wonder what his market is going to be. I mean, yeah, he kind of missed 2 seasons with injuries, but like whenever he was on the field, he was really good. So it seems like he's looking for like a long-term contract, and might be that Colts are unwilling to give him one. Really, like one of the better guys that remains unsigned. Joe Flacco, yeah, and it was always kind of a curious signing towards the Colts. I feel like Daniel Jones makes more sense in terms of what kind of offense they want to run. Yet he was fun in there, so good luck, Joe, with recollection with the Browns. In terms of guys that they brought, Khalil Herbert, like I was talking about him in the Bears preview last year. I was like, yeah, I do not like DeAndre Swift because we are killing Khalil Herbert. They obviously traded him, and he came to the Bengals, where Chase Brown was really having a nice season. So Khalil Herbert didn't get to play too much, and now he's here. What does it mean? Like I hope he gets his chance, but again, he's behind Jonathan Taylor. But I think he could be very nice too for them. So I like the signing quite a lot. Daniel Jones, I understand the signing. That's a lot of the times when I'm going to grade something a C, which is like average, I will say I understand because it's not like I particularly like it or I particularly dislike it. So why I understand the signing? Well, Anthony Richardson is still a roller coaster. You kind of don't know what you get like snap in, snap out. And also, like his playstyle does leave him vulnerable in some situations. So having a guy that can run similar type of offense is very reasonable. And Daniel Jones to me is like very good fit in that. The thing is, like 14 millions, that's quite a lot. So it's like it's like this to Anthony, but also very interesting. Like I wonder how he is going to react to this dynamic, because like when they brought Joe Flacco, it was like kind of clear, like Joe is here to be a mentor. Like Joe probably didn't get the memo because he really took the job for a couple of weeks, but yeah, really interesting how he's going to respond, because like this year is kind of now or never for Anthony Richardson in my opinion. Like I feel like with Daniel Jones, they kind of made it clear we are not looking for another QB in the draft. But again, I feel like they will still take someone in that like fourth to fifth to sixth round. And as well, it's like if he doesn't perform this year, what next off season we might talk about new potentials in terms of draft. Now, towards big signings, Cameron Bynum and Charvarius Ward. So I start with Charvarius Ward. I love this signing. I feel like he gives them true great perimeter corner that they didn't have. They obviously have Kenny Moore, but outside corners are like, there are a bunch of young guys that I like, but I feel like you need this kind of alpha dog out there. And I feel like Charvarius Ward definitely is going to come back to like his, like not definitely, but I really do believe he's going to bounce back. Like his last year with San Francisco was dreadful. He lost. There was a, yeah, I think he lost the child. Or they lost the child. It was like, yeah, like some personal tragedies, and like the whole team was kind of a mess in terms of so many injuries, personal tragedies. Ricky Pearsall getting shot. I think it was another miscarriage or something. Like there was a lot of bad things going on with 49ers last year. So I really feel like there is like for their players, I give them much bigger like bounce back chances than I would usually do, because like in that you just lost the Super Bowl, this is our year, and then like shit just starts to fall upon you. I hate that situation. Like, you know, they are rivals, but I absolutely hate it. Like for them, sorry, 49ers for last season. So I really expect them to bounce back, and partially because of the last season, like the contract is not necessarily top of the market, which is something that perhaps Charvarius Ward pre-2024 would be looking for. In terms of Cameron Bynum, I'm slightly less positive about the signing, truth to be told, because to me he is a good player, good safety, but not a safety worth so much money. Like, I feel like that's too much. Understand it for I think it's Lou. Is it Lou? Yeah, that for like Lou Anaru. I'm sorry guys if I try to not butcher names, but sometimes I do that. That's why sometimes I try to like really look up online. It's like Anarumo. I'm like, sorry. I think like he's a player that is going to be used very well within the defense, but I kind of hate that you had to pay super premium to get him. So I get it, the fit is really nice, and I don't think it's like an outrageous overpay, but I still think like it's big overpay for what Cameron Bynum is, in my opinion. Especially like this position where, I mean, I feel like you can get like 80-90% of Cameron Bynum for a cheap veteran worth like 4 or 5 million a year. And again, like Cameron has potential to grow. He might be really special for them. So it's not like I hate it, but again, not necessarily a huge fan. With that being said, this is how their lineup is looking like. I don't doubt that they will start with Anthony Richardson. Tanner Bortolini, I feel like he definitely is going to be starter with Ryan Kelly gone. Brennan Ryman, Quentin Nelson, Braden Smith, absolutely clear. There is one question, that's the right guard position. They could go with Dalton Tucker, which I think they could try. There is also potential for Braden Smith to try to move to guard. And like he's 29, perhaps moving to guard could be like, say, a longer solution for them. And they have Matt Gonzalez to play tackle, which I would not put it past them. And I think Braden Smith played like 2 years at college. He played the guard. I think he could play there. And also this is like his last year of deal with Colts. So it might be for them really interesting opportunity to figure this one out in terms of like, can he like switch towards guard for like later parts of his career? If so, we want to pay him. And if that happens, and Matt Gonzalez, I think, is going to be a good tackle, like, yeah, this offensive line is figured out, great. If it doesn't happen, you still have Dalton Tucker, you can switch Braden Smith towards tackle, you can trade him, depends on how the season goes. So I actually feel like they could really go with Braden Smith to right guard and Matt Gonzalez towards right tackle. So we'll see. We'll take a look at that situation. But that would actually be how I would approach this. As of right now, it's Dalton Tucker playing right guard based on depth charts. But when was the last time depth charts lied, right? So with that being said, let's look at the playmakers. In terms of wide receivers, I think this team is absolutely set. Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Adonai Mitchell. You've invested into this group, you paid Michael Pittman, you drafted Adonai high, you have Josh Downs, you have Alec Pierce. They both have, Josh Downs has 2 years, Alec Pierce has 1 year. Yeah, you are kind of set with this group, for sure. I don't really expect them to try to go and get wide receiver with Jonathan Taylor, backup of Kyle Herbert. Again, you paid Jonathan Taylor after a prolonged situation. Like, was he necessarily amazing last year? No, but he was still really freaking good. Yeah, it's set. What's missing is tight end. They have a couple of them: Jelani Woods, Molly Cox, Andrew Ogletree, Will Mallory. Well, neither of them is really great. Neither of them is signed after the season, but Will Mallory, he has 2 years, and it's like, this is prime Tyler Warren spot. Is Tyler Warren going to be available number 14? I don't think so. Or they are drafting 14, I believe. Or am I wrong in this one? They might be drafting slightly lower. No, 14. I'm correct. So the question for the draft is, how much are you willing to sacrifice to get Tyler Warren? And my answer to that would be, if he's available like spot 8, 7 or 8 is probably as early as I would be like, okay, I will do not everything, but I will try to come up with a reasonable trade and we will try to get him, because I think he completes this offense absolutely superbly. I think he's a really nice fit for what they want to do, and he would be special. Like, to me, move Braden Smith towards right guard, Melvin South to right tackle, draft, like 4th, 5th round guard or tackle, and with Tyler Warren, this offense does not need anything else for this year. I mean, it might still be bad because Anthony Richardson is not going to like take those steps that you require him to do, but you cannot really say we didn't give it the best shot. I think if Warren is with this bunch of playmakers, I would be looking forward to look at this offense. I mean, I will still do, because Richardson is a fun player, whether in a good and bad sense, but yeah, really, really prime player that I just feel like absolutely suits here. In terms of backups, like I said, Dalton Tucker and Matt Gonzalez, I feel like they could both be starters. Depends on how they approach this. Daniel Jones, Kyle Herbert, Andrew Guilty, like you're saying, like we don't have wide receiver 4. They have a couple of other tight ends, which like I feel like they could live in 12 personnel anywhere. So it's not like necessarily like they are missing wide receiver depth because they have 4 in previous slides. So I'm absolutely okay. I really feel like this offense just needs Tyler Warren, and it's kind of set. Now let's shift towards defense, and yeah. Samson Ebukam is coming back. We will see how good he's going to be in his last year. The same for Kwity Paye, and what kind of step can Latu take forward. Again, this is a situation where it's like, why they didn't resign on the Ingbo? Well, A, he's quite expensive. B, they have 2 other guys that are on the same level, and you hope that Latu could be that alpha dog for you. And they also have one of the top 3 interiors in the league in Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner that they have long-term commitment for. So, like, even if Samson Ebukam and Kwity Paye are not here next year, you still have Latu, Stewart, and Buckner, and you can pretty much insert another edge into the situation, and you still have a great defensive line. Obviously, they hope that Latu is going to get here, that Samson Ebukam is going to come back strong from the injury. We'll see, but this defensive line is definitely set, and like the only thing that you kind of are going to be looking forward is will Adebawore actually follow up on like his huge trades and actually develops in a really nice backup for Stewart and Buckner, or do you need to invest in backups for these 2 guys? That's kind of how the draft could be like viewed. How much they trust Adebawore is going to kind of determine, in my eyes, how much they invest in defensive tackle, whether it's going to be 2nd and 3rd round, because both Stewart and Buckner are in their 30s. So it's like you have them for next 2 years, most likely, but then it's very much of a question mark. In terms of edge, I don't really feel like they are going to invest in that group heavily, because they have Latu, Lewis, Ebukam, and Kwity Paye, really solid 4 guys, and whether you think you will resign either of those 3 that are not there for next season or not, I don't necessarily think you need to jump ahead this season, because this year you really need to figure out Anthony Richardson, so you should invest premium in that, whether it's like better protection of him, or in my case I would really go and invest in Tyler Warren. And also you kind of want to know what these guys are going to be, whether you want to pay them rather than actually pre-invest into this group, in my eyes. In terms of linebackers, they have the veteran Zaire Franklin, and to me, Gerald Calais showed enough promise last year that I would continue his like safety to linebacker transition and actually start him. Also, they could look at the situation and try to bring some prime linebacker from this draft, but again, it didn't seem to be like broken with Carlisle, and he is 3 more years of chip control. So I would continue with that because I really like what he showed. And in terms of secondary, I feel like you kind of figured it out in the in the offseason. Investment in Karen Byam and Charvarius Ward. You have Womack, you have Jones, you have Kenny Moore, you have Nick Ross. Like, this is a good secondary. This is like really nice secondary. You have a couple of guys. We are not even talking about Julius Brands. That's even like it's like their 5th corner. Like, they have like very nice depth even. So they have like what, 8 like guys from secondary that I like, and that even counts Carlisle as linebacker instead of safety. Which, yeah, this like again, like this team, it probably could shock you how good they actually are on the paper. It's like, if Anthony Richardson was playing like CJ Stroud or Jaden Daniels, like, I don't know what, like, this team could be freaking insane. Like, they have a lot of talent. They have a really talented and nice roster. So they were also fun because of that, how they were also fun to draft for. This is their backups. Like, Ronnie Thomas is solid, Juju Brands is solid, Tyquan Lewis, Quiddipa. Like, they have a really lot of solid players. Again, like, my one question is defensive tackle, is it above or not? And linebackers, they don't necessarily have like backups for that, so I definitely expect them to go for backups. But I would really think about Carlisle as a potential starter. Well, me saying that, and then you draft Chad Campbell. Okay, why? Well, in this mock draft, I really tried to go for Tyler Warren, but he went 5th. And as much as I like him, as much as I think he would absolutely fit this, what we're trying to do, it was hard. It was really hard. I didn't want to spend like super premium to get like the top 5 to draft Tyler Warren. I mean, if you are like Jaguars and you want to draft Tyler Warren, I'm not against that. But I'm not really in business of like spending premium to get to 5 and getting him. With that being said, when I really look at this roster, it was like, well, I like Matt Gonsalves, I like Brandon Smith, I like Baron Reinman. I mean, I could have gone for a tackle, but I was like, it's luxury pick in my opinion. And it also like assumes that Brandon Smith is okay to play guard, and like the fact that he played there like 2017, 2018, that he can still do that. So I was like, okay, there is another spot that like I don't think is a weakness necessarily, but we can upgrade on, and that was linebacker. So I was like, okay, Chad Campbell is on. Let's do it, man. And yeah, I was really on the lookout, and Colston Loveland made it towards back end of the first round. And I'm like, well, we didn't get Tyler Warren, we need to get Colston Loveland. So we spent not necessarily premium, but kind of pick swap with the Ravens. And yeah, I really like that. So I went for Loveland. And I kind of double dip with Garner Helm. That would give them like 6 tight ends, but only 3 that would be signed like post 2025. So I was kind of okay with that. And pretty much with the rest of the guys, it was kind of guys that I don't necessarily feel like have starting potential, but are kind of good depth pieces towards areas that I feel like I can use one. We talk about quarterbacks, so I'm not going to repeat myself. You know, in terms of running backs, like there is only Kyle Herbert for 1 year that I necessarily like. So, you know, having a backup for that is good. And, you know, the depth of offensive line is not necessarily superb. And I really like the coaching here in terms of developing the offensive line. So really, when you look at this roster, it really feels complete in a lot of cases. So it's unlike, I don't know, for example, for like Patriots, you will see how I wealth and delved, but this really feels like you try to get like 2 or 3 premium players, and the rest is like you don't necessarily need so many backups because they are there, and you know, then like you can get them real later in rounds. So really feel like Colts are very well set up, but again, like it comes down to how Anthony Richardson is going to be able to play. Now, towards the last team of this division is the Texans. So, with Texans, What the hell? Like, why do you trade Laremy Tunsil, and why is it for so little? Like, I'm still baffled by this trade. Like, I don't understand it. There were post Laremy Tunsil trade, there were a talk about, well, he was a bad presence in the locker room. I mean, I kind of struggle to believe that based on I did not read any report on that when he was there. And it's like, Russell Wilson and Seattle, like, there was definitely some type of tension, even like some stories leaked out, but at least I didn't see nothing. So to me, this really feels like coping rather than like too much of a truth. Maybe it is, but that's how it feels to me. And like, why? Like, I just want to give you the exact details. Third and 7th round, and 2nd and 4th. So they got 3rd, 2nd, and 7th, and it was like kind of swap of 4th. I mean, you had bad offensive line as it was last year, and you are trading your best player, and you are pretty much getting 2nd and 3rd for it. I still don't get it. Letting go of Stefan Diggs, I feel like was kind of not necessarily always the case, but Texans are actually in a worse financial situation that you would expect after like CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, two prime players that they don't have to pay huge numbers for 3 more years. Yeah, they actually are in like worse situations. They kind of went all in last year and it didn't work. So letting go Stefan Diggs was probably like a good decision. Shaq Mason, again, like, I understand it from the perspective of like, was he necessarily worth the money you were paying him? But it's like, after Laremy Tunsil, he was probably like the 3rd best offensive lineman you had. So suddenly you are without your 2 of your best 3. And the best one is like Titus Howard. Yeah. Okay. So kind of weird decisions. I'm not going to lie. In terms of other guys, Kendrick Green, Eric Murray, totally okay with letting them go. And now, finally, to replacements. So Cam Robinson, I mean, he's supposed to replace Laremy Tunsil. Okay, he's obviously cheaper. You got extra picks, so there are definitely aspects of this I like. I also feel like we did not see like the best of Cam Robinson with the Vikings stint, because like, it's super hard to go to a different team mid-season and pretty much learn the offense, learn snap counts and everything. And also, like, there was other injuries towards interior. So like, yeah, I don't hold Cam Robinson's stint with the Vikings against him. But also, like, he was not necessarily cheap. It's like 1 year, 12.5 million. They kind of pushed the money down the line. And yeah, I think it's a solid signing. I like Laken Tomlinson signing because, I mean, it's like, especially when you put it in like combination of like Shaq Mason, it's like you are getting slightly cheaper, reasonably same, and not necessarily like it's slightly cheaper even this year, and next year it's even more cheaper. So yeah, I kind of understand that. Trenton Brown. Guys, like, you are paying for like 5 games or 6. that's kind of the thinking. So I mean, you can hope to stumble into his health season. It's not going to happen, but yeah, it's really nice, like, dark throw for this kind of money. I absolutely understand that. So like, you are kind of filling this room with bodies, and you kind of hope that some of them stick, which, like, is a nice pivot. I would still prefer to have Laramie Tunsil, but I at least feel like they've handled the situation well after. In terms of other guys, I like the coming back of Sheldon Rankins here. Also quite cheap, like much cheaper than he was with the Bengals. So I really feel like he's going to be probably even starter for them for a very, very reasonable amount of money. When I compare him to Mario Edwards, I think you are getting a better player for cheaper, so good for them. Derek Taylor, kind of a passer specialist, actually had a really nice season with the Bears, but again, I don't really see neither of these signings as really big deal, apart from Sheldon Rankins. So I really feel like it's very, very nice, very nice signing. Okay, so they got Christian Kirk from the Jags. It was pretty much like, we are not resigning Stephon Diggs. This is a kind of 1 year rental that I think cost them like 7 rounder, and it gives better chances to like Tank Dell, not really rush him back, and we have our number 2 guy behind Nico Collins. So it's kind of what this is to me, at least. So yeah, I'm absolutely okay with that. Ronald Darby, I think it's value for the money. It gives you like experience and like a solid floor. You would like him to be on the sideline and like get in when like in case of injuries, but yeah, you can go much worse than Ronald Darby in terms of your backup corners. And I absolutely love CJ Gardner-Johnson trade. This was kind of under the radar from Philly that they let him go, and the price was not very steep, and they really get very nice years of his contract. They should have him for 2 more years on really cheap. So I mean, it might be different, like Spotrac kept changing the numbers with him, but I feel like it should be fairly cheap. Yeah, I mean, it might be slightly more than I'm actually having here, because they kind of changed the numbers since the last time I've checked on this one, but it still should be around like 5 to 6 million a year, and I think he's like a super player for this number, so really nice. And they have him for 2 more years, so really one of the, like, whilst Laramie Tunsil trade was one of the worst in my opinion, CJ Gardner-Johnson was one of the better ones that like any teams made this offseason, and kind of got like exploitative of Eagles situation. So nice job there. That leaves us with this offense. Yeah. This is not a great O-line. Let's be honest. And the thing is, do you necessarily expect it to like get better? Like when you see this O-line assembled, it's kind of like, well, we probably are paying our QB. Well, you are not. Okay, so it's probably young guys that we expect to get better. Not really. Like Juice Cracks is pretty much Juice Cracks and Jared Patterson, but they are like 25 and 26, so it's not like they are 21, 22. And like Cam Robinson, like Titus Howard, like, I mean, they could do a job, but the one of the problems is like you don't really see like the light and the end of the tunnel, because this seems like this is the mediocre offensive line for years to come. Okay, the light could be, we have Blake Fisher, we trust in him, and we have kind of Cam Robinson as a safety, but like Blake Fisher was bad when he played last year, and you don't really have like planned post Clayton Tomlinson. As of right now, this line is not great. The only kind of hope for the future is Blake Fisher, in my opinion. I don't necessarily trust Scruggs or Patterson or Ingram to like develop into something special. Like they could be useful starters. They could be another Titus Howards of the world. I don't necessarily feel like they could be much more than that. And they're really missing some like high-end piece, and I don't see it here even in the future. So Not happy with you, Texans. Not happy with you. And so it kind of feels like you should be really addressing O-line and like with the draft. But the problem is like, by who are you drafting up? Is it like, are you investing into interior? But you have other needs. I mean, not like it's kind of weird because, and that was something that I had when I was doing like the postseason recap for the Texans. For like, they should be a team on the uprise, like CJ Stroud, like continue to be great, Will Anderson continue to be great, and you have these two players that in 4 years' time you will pay $90 million a year for. Now you are paying 20 for them. And it should be like, yeah, this is our prime years. But when you look at the roster, and it's like, I mean, we will talk about defense because that could be one hell of a defense. But offensively, they're not necessarily treating CJ Stroud super well. In terms of playmakers, well, you have Nico Collins, great. Christian Kirk, I think it's a good money rental. Tank Dell, I don't really know if he plays this year. GMaty, I hope he gets more chances, but with his illness, there, like he kind of missed his rookie window. So it's like, if he's going to be great, you will have to pay for it in upcoming years. Dalton Schultz, I mean, like I would not be shocked if he is cut next season because I really feel like he left a lot to be desired last year. And Joe Mixon is like very solid player. He kind of rejuvenated himself within the Texans, but he has 4,000 or 5,000 snaps under his belt, and in the NFL, like I think it's 4,000, something like that. Let me check on that. But it's really not a small amount. Like he was very durable for the Bengals. Okay, why is it? Okay, so yeah, it's almost 5,000 snaps, so you kind of expect him to like lose a step or two in the next 2 years. I mean, like it like based on the grades I have on these guys, it looks good, but you realize Tank Dell is a huge question mark. Christian Kirk is 1 year rental. GMaty, like you hope, and Joe Mixon and Dalton Schultz, I don't think they are going to be better than what they are right now, and they could even dip in that. So, yeah, I really when I was like doing review, I expected like much better talk about Texans and the future. Like I have my doubts, man. I have my doubts in terms of backups. We talk about Blake Fisher. He was really bad last year. Let's hope he's going to figure it out. Trenton Brown, Kate Stover, Damian Pierce-Davis. Was like they have solid backups. I feel like their wide receiver room probably. They sound like Braxton Berrios, Justin Watson, so probably not even there. Like I'm not just not sure which one of these guys are going to be that. Well, while with the offense, the talk is kind of like last year, defense is much more funnier. So, edge, Will Anderson, Daniel Hunter, yeah, that's fun. It's really fun. It's not the best duo, but it has potential to be. And I really feel like with Sheldon rankings, it's not like you necessarily fixed the interior, but you raised the floor of that group. On the edge, there is Demi Koche as well. So to me, they are definitely on the market for adding another defensive tackle, and it could be like this draft. And when they are in the draft, like obviously would rather be like first than 29th or 28th or whatever they are, but with they're really in the range where there should be a very good defensive tackle ready for them, and I do believe they should just snap him out. In terms of linebackers, Alshire and Henry Toto, I think is a very, very nice duo they have. So I really feel like this room is kind of figured out, though it's going to be a question where it's offensive line or defensive line, where do you spend that first round pick? Because I would be shocked if it's anywhere else, especially when we talk about the secondary, and this secondary is nasty. This is a nasty secondary. They just paid Jalen Petrie, Derek Stingley, they paid him to Kamara. Like, they have this figured out for next couple of years. I mean, the only one is Jimmy Ward. That has one more year on his contract, but he's still playing very, very well. The only question could be injuries. But beside that, Garner Johnson is there for 2 years. Derek Stingley is there for gazillion years. Kamara Lassiter have control for 3 more years. Jalen Petrie, they have resigned him for 3 years, 39 million. Like, there is no details, or wasn't when I was like doing this, but really like this resigning. You have Darby as like veteran backup. Like, this room is freaking nasty. One of the best secondaries in the football. And like this whole defense, I think if you insert great defensive tackle in, and I mean great like first rounder from this draft where there's a couple of them, this is a Super Bowl championship potential winning defense. I really trust it. And it's the funniest thing, or like the greatest thing, is they are not at their peak. I think we have not seen the best from Lassiter, we have not seen the best from Petrie, we have not seen the best from Will Anderson. We have obviously seen the best from the defensive tackle that I feel like they will draft. And the only one that's like question is Jimmy Ward here, because like he is 44, but that's it, man. Like, I really like this defense, and that was when I was really underwhelmed when I was like, okay, Texans offense, like, they have much more trouble than I expected. And I'm like, defense, oh, this is nice defense. This is nice defense. So if they, like, to me, they could have, like, if they will be like an average offense, which like with CJ Stroud and Nico Collins, it's kind of not easy to be, but you can expect them to be very solid at least. This defense has potential to be like one of top 5 defenses overall. I really, really trust that. With that being said, in terms of backups, they have Christian Harris, Bullock, they invested last offseason. Like, yeah, they are prepared. Like, they really have like solid, like, the defense is built great. I love how they built this defense. Really, really loved it. Now, towards the draft. And like I said, it's either offensive line or defensive line, pretty much with first 2 picks. And to me, at the end of the day, I really decided to go for Gray Sable here, because to me, protecting CJ Stroud is more important than giving myself the best interior defensive lineman. And that was like essentially the choice I made. It's like I really feel like this group needs more investment, so I took Gray Sable. I think he's a really nice pick. Shemar Turner, I mean, D plus from the PFF. I mean, come on, guys. Like, he is a really great talent for them. And like, the only thing that you can like kind of question about this pick is like, I don't know, like, he kind of fits there. What do you don't like? I mean, I don't really feel like with what was available, there was like better player to fit the system. Kyle Kennard, to me, gives them nice rotational piece. Kind of in 2 years, I feel like you could look to replace Daniel Hunter. He, to me, is like similar like build. And that was pretty much the reason. Other than that, Savion Williams, like I said, like, that wide receiver room looks good on the first glance. On the second, it's like, there are problems, man. There are problems. And, you know, getting Savion, I'm not saying fixes those problems, but I think it gives you another guy into the mix that can fight for starting reps as early as this season and kind of overcome those veterans in Barrios and like Watson and whatever, whoever they brought. So that's why I really feel like this was the way. For other guys, it's pretty much, you know, really just looking at the depth chart, thinking maybe 2 years ahead or 1 year ahead, and really filling some needs that with players that I feel like not necessarily are the best left on the board, but more like fits the Texans the best. So we've done it. First video. I mean, it was trouble. My voice is slightly better than I expected it to be. Cats were slightly more misbehaving than I hoped them to be. But we've done it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know how you like this approach when we go across the whole division. And let me know what you think about the potential drafts. What do you think about how I graded the offseason for each team? And overall, how you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and see you with the next one. Bye bye.